The year is 1587. A grand endeavor, fraught with both peril and promise, unfolded on the shores of what would become North Carolina. 117 English colonists, their hearts brimming with hope and trepidation, landed on Roanoke Island, eager to establish the first permanent English settlement in the New World. Among them was Governor John White, a man of quiet determination and artistic talent, whose daughter and granddaughter were also part of this ambitious venture. They built their homes, planted their crops, and dreamed of a new life, a new England, across the vast ocean. Yet just 3 short years later, the entire colony vanished without a trace, leaving behind only a single enigmatic word carved into a post: CROATOAN. This inexplicable disappearance would etch itself into the annals of history, becoming one of America's most enduring and haunting mysteries. The initial struggles were immense. Supplies dwindled, and the harsh realities of a foreign land began to weigh heavily on the colonists. Governor White, shouldering the immense burden of leadership, made the fateful decision to return to England. His mission was clear: secure vital provisions and reinforcements to ensure the survival of his fledgling colony. It was a reluctant journey, tearing him away from his beloved daughter and tiny granddaughter, but a necessary one, he believed, for their future. He promised to return swiftly, his heart heavy with the weight of their dependence. However, fate, in its cruelest form, intervened. As White prepared for his return voyage, the geopolitical landscape of Europe erupted into turmoil. The formidable Spanish Armada, a fleet of unprecedented power, launched its assault on England. The Anglo-Spanish War, a brutal conflict that pitted 2 great empires against each other, gripped the seas and consumed all available resources. Every ship, every sailor, was pressed into service for the war effort. White's desperate pleas for a relief ship fell on deaf ears, swallowed by the roar of cannons and the cries of battle. 3 agonizing years passed, each day a torment for the absent governor, as the war raged, holding him captive across the ocean, far from his vulnerable colony. Finally, in 1590, the war subsided enough for White to secure passage back to Roanoke. His heart pounded with a mixture of hope and dread as his ship approached the familiar shores. What he found, however, was not the bustling settlement he had left behind, but an eerie, desolate silence. The houses were gone, meticulously dismantled, not destroyed by fire or battle. There were no bodies, no signs of struggle, no scattered belongings to suggest a hasty departure or a violent end. The entire colony, all 117 souls, had simply vanished, leaving behind an unsettling void. It was as if they had packed up and walked away, but to where? The only clues to their fate were 2 cryptic carvings. On a sturdy post, the word CROATOAN stood starkly, a silent testament to a decision made in desperation. Nearby, on a tree, the letters CRO were etched. White's mind raced, recalling a prearranged signal. If the colonists were in distress, or forced to leave under duress, they were to carve a Maltese cross above their message. The absence of this cross offered a glimmer of hope. Perhaps they had left voluntarily, yet the profound emptiness of the settlement, the absolute silence, was a chilling counterpoint to any comfort the missing cross might provide. White, desperate for answers, knew he had to investigate CROATOAN Island, the ancestral home of a friendly Native American tribe. It was the most logical destination, the only lead he had. But just as he prepared to set sail, a ferocious storm descended upon the coast, battering his ship and making passage impossible. The tempest raged for days, forcing his crew to abandon the search and return to England. The call remained unanswered, the fate of his family and the colonists unresolved, swallowed by the ocean's fury and the vast unknown of the New World. Before we continue, subscribe to the channel and tell us in the comments where you are watching from. The word CROATOAN etched into the post was not merely a random inscription. It pointed directly to CROATOAN Island, known today as Hatteras Island, a place that held both geographic and cultural significance. It was the ancestral home of the CROATOAN tribe, a Native American group with whom the English colonists had maintained relatively peaceful relations. This single word, therefore, served as the primary, albeit ambiguous, clue to the lost colonists' destination, igniting centuries of speculation and investigation. The most widely accepted and enduring theory posits that the colonists, facing dwindling resources and the prolonged absence of Governor White, made the pragmatic decision to relocate and integrate with the CROATOAN tribe. This theory finds support in the meticulously dismantled buildings found by White in 1590. A hostile attack would likely have left behind signs of violence, destruction, and unburied bodies. Instead, the orderly departure suggested a planned move, possibly with the assistance of their Native American allies. Furthermore, historical accounts from the early 17th century mention sightings of Native Americans with gray eyes and lighter complexions, particularly among tribes like the Lumbee, who claimed descent from the Roanoke colonists. English artifacts, including pottery shards and tools, have also been discovered at various Native American settlement sites in the region, dating to the period after the colonists' disappearance, lending further credence to the idea of integration and assimilation. It paints a picture not of tragedy, but of a desperate survival strategy that saw two cultures intertwine. However, not all theories are so benign. Another perspective suggests a more violent end, a massacre at the hands of hostile tribes. This idea, while compelling in its dramatic simplicity, struggles to reconcile with the archaeological evidence. The complete absence of human remains, weapons, or any widespread evidence of a struggle or fire at the Roanoke settlement makes a large-scale massacre highly improbable. If 117 people had been violently killed, the site would have borne undeniable marks of such an event. The meticulous dismantling of the settlement directly contradicts the chaos of a brutal attack, rendering this theory less plausible than the peaceful integration scenario. A third, intriguing theory proposes that the colonists ventured inland, perhaps towards the area around the Chesapeake Bay, where the English had initially intended to establish their first colony. Recent archaeological investigations, particularly near Edenton, North Carolina, have uncovered potential evidence of English settlement, including fragments of pottery and other artifacts, at sites some distance from Roanoke Island. These findings suggest that at least a portion of the colony might have attempted to establish a new, independent settlement further inland, possibly seeking better resources or escaping perceived threats. Yet, even with these tantalizing discoveries, definitive proof linking these inland sites directly to the lost Roanoke colonists remains elusive, leaving ample room for continued debate and research. Beyond these more grounded theories, the mystery has also spawned a variety of more outlandish and less credible explanations. Some fringe theories suggest Spanish intervention, claiming the Spanish, ever wary of English encroachment, might have eliminated the colony. Others propose an elaborate English cover-up, implying the Crown concealed a disastrous failure. While these narratives add to the mystique, they lack any substantive historical or archaeological evidence, making them little more than speculative fiction. Their existence, however, underscores the depth of the enigma and humanity's persistent desire to fill historical voids with dramatic narratives. The enduring fascination with the lost colony of Roanoke stems from its profound psychological impact. It represents more than just a historical puzzle. It is a foundational American enigma, a chilling reminder of the immense challenges and profound uncertainties faced by early European colonizers in the New World. The disappearance of 117 souls, leaving behind only a single cryptic word, speaks volumes about the vulnerability of human endeavors against the vast untamed wilderness and the complex dynamics of cross-cultural encounters. It symbolizes the fragility of life on the frontier and the gnawing questions that arise when humanity confronts the inexplicable, ensuring its place in collective memory as a haunting, unresolved tale. Today, the quest for answers continues, driven by modern archaeological endeavors. Groups like the First Colony Foundation dedicate themselves to meticulously sifting through the soil and historical records, seeking any tangible connection to the vanished English colonists. Their investigations often lean into the theory of the colony splitting into smaller, more manageable groups. Some likely sought refuge and integration with Native American tribes, while others might have attempted to establish independent settlements further inland, perhaps hoping to avoid the political turmoil that plagued their initial venture. The landscape of North Carolina still holds secrets, and each newly unearthed artifact offers a whisper from the past. Through advanced techniques like carbon dating and artifact analysis, archaeologists have indeed found compelling evidence suggesting an English presence in Native American settlements post-1587. Shards of English pottery, metal tools, and even architectural fragments have been discovered at sites historically associated with various native tribes, particularly those with known interactions with the Roanoke colonists. These findings, while never providing the definitive smoking gun that explicitly names a colonist or details their fate, nonetheless reinforce the integration theory. They paint a picture of cultural exchange, where the English, facing an existential crisis, adapted to survive within the established Native American societies. The absence of mass graves or signs of widespread conflict at Roanoke Island itself continues to bolster this narrative, suggesting a more nuanced ending than a simple massacre. The story, it seems, is less about a total disappearance and more about a transformation, an absorption into a new way of life. The enduring legacy of Roanoke transcends mere historical curiosity, transforming from a failed colonial attempt into a legendary American mystery that continues to captivate generations. It has seeped into popular culture, inspiring books, films, and countless theories, each attempting to fill the void left by 117 vanished souls. The story of the Lost Colony of Roanoke serves as a powerful metaphor for the enigmatic beginnings of a nation, a testament to the harsh realities faced by those who first dared to dream of a new world. It reminds us that history is often incomplete, woven with threads of fact and speculation, leaving ample room for imagination and continued exploration. Ultimately, the most likely scenario, pieced together from fragmented clues and archaeological whispers, points not to a violent demise, but to a desperate act of survival, assimilation. The colonists, or at least a significant portion of them, probably integrated into local Native American tribes, finding safety and a new identity among people they once viewed as foreign. This conclusion, however, remains steeped in ambiguity. There are no confirmed records of individual colonists, no direct lineage proof accepted universally, and crucially, no graves. The absence of these definitive markers leaves the resolution profoundly open-ended, allowing the mystery to persist, a haunting echo across the centuries. And so, we return to the single, haunting word, CROATOAN. It stands as a monument to the unknown, a cryptic epitaph for a dream that dissolved into the wilderness. For 437 years, this word has held its secrets close, inviting endless speculation and fueling an insatiable human desire to understand the past. The mystery of the Lost Colony of Roanoke endures not because of a definitive answer, but precisely because of its absence. It solidifies its place in history as a timeless enigma, a profound testament to the power of the untold story, leaving all who encounter it with a lingering sense of wonder and an irresistible urge to fill the silence with their own imaginings. The wilderness of North Carolina still whispers their names, carried on the wind, a perpetual question mark etched into the very fabric of American history.